foreheads. We're in our rooms and we're talking about AI.
What's going on, you ravenous meerkats? This is the Forehead Podcast. You got Sideshow. You have Brent, Reinforce. I'm Golden Boy. We're going to talk your head off. This is the greatest disaster on the internet. And it starts off like that for a good reason. Welcome, everyone. You may notice something a little bit different here.
Yeah, you're bald, bitch. You're
I'm
bald.
Actually, I'm not completely bald, by the way. Mostly because, you know, I got a little patch there.
You've got a tiny little tuft. Oh,
my
you're
God,
combing
it's a
it.
comb. It's actually disgusting.
Okay, for our audio listeners, he has a patch of like 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter hair left on top of his head in the back left quadrant.
It makes me uncomfortable
Yeah,
Why?
that's
No, okay.
because it's just
fine.
unnatural. It's unnatural.
fine.
It makes me uncomfortable. It reminds me of like the slimy dude from Lord of the Rings who's whispering into the ear of the
worm
king.
tongue.
It reminds me of Worm Tongue. I don't know why.
What happened was that I hit 1,000 subs on my channel, by the way, guys.
Congratulations.
Golden Boy FTW. Yeah, no, it was sick. I've never had that happen to me ever in my life. So for once in my pathetic life, I could say I was a Twitch streamer. So that was cool. But I never had that happen. And I said, if I hit 1,000 subs, because my best friend Ghost was like, dude, if you hit 1,000 subs, you should totally shave your head on stream.
Sure.
And then people were just like, you know, obviously he doesn't have to do it. And if you saw my friend Ghost right now, he looks like a Puerto Rican hobo. So I don't know like why he made the suggestion. But anyway, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Not thinking that I would. Mind you, I made this bet around like 300 subs.
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
that this would never happen.
Yep, the same with my eyebrow stuff. If it
This
sounds
is
good at the
this is
time.
Sideshow rule.
Hey,
of
I
law.
did that with dyeing my hair as well.
Oh, yeah.
that's
with
right.
your
True,
hair.
true. I
Just
dyed my
before
hair as
BlizzCon.
well.
Yeah, the Sideshow was like, yeah, if Johnny gets 1,000 subs, then me and Brennan will dye our hair. And I just got 1,000 subs. I got 600 subs in one day.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
People just love to say it. But you
What?
didn't dye your hair, did you, Josh?
Yeah, I did. It was
But you
blue.
didn't.
It
You
was dyed.
fucking you put powdered
No, I put
Powdered
temporary
coloured-
dye in it. That was still dyeing
temporary
my
powdered
hair.
color dye in your hair.
That's still
You
dyeing my
can't go
hair.
temporary. That's some basic bitch shit.
Absolutely
you gotta
not.
go
You
hardcore.
skirted the rules.
I
You
didn't.
cheated the system.
I follow the rules by the letter.
My hair is still dyed.
Okay, I would argue that I did not cheat the system as much as Golden Boy, because Golden Boy was supposed to shave his head and he left a little patch of hair.
Okay, for one, don't ever try and pivot this because you did, in fact, not follow the rules of this whole thing. Brent's hair is still blonde, and he looks a little German, but beyond that, okay, Cynthia, my loving wife, was shaving my head. Mind you, bless her soul, never used a hair clipper a day in her life.
I saw the
She
stream.
tur-
She was worried. She was like panicked.
She was, well, yeah, she was panicked because she didn't want to cut my head. But what she ended up doing was even worse. She took the clipper without turning it on and said, okay, do I go like that? Right into my hair without turning it on. So it actually went right here. And she like got the clipper like stuck inside my hair. And I yelled, I was like, oh my God. And she does say I have a tendency to overreact whenever like, you know, something hurts me and
Yeah.
stuff. I do have a tendency. Like when I burn my foot, I yelled like the shriek is
Like when you
loud
burn
as
your foot, like you burn your foot on a regular basis.
well, I mean, I burned my foot, you know, with some
You
with
burnt your foot.
some burnt my foot.
yeah,
Did
well,
you
how?
burn-
How?
Oh, you don't know this story?
No, how'd you burn
Did
your
you only-
foot?
Did you? But is this a multiple reoccurring thing?
No. Thank
Okay.
God. Thank God. No, the way I burned my foot was I was cooking some rice and then I was stirring the pot, you know, because the boiling water
Uh-huh.
and stuff. Because I'm
Stir the
not
pot.
again like Josh is, you know, basic bitch out here using temporary hair dye. I'm out here making real rice like a man, not using a rice cooker. like some
No, I don't
pansy.
own a rice cooker either. I steam rice in a pan. Yeah.
I'm gonna
also,
be real.
while
with
you're
you. Rice
stirring it,
cookers,
Go for it, Bren. What do you say, rice cooker?
rice
What?
cookers are legit.
Shut up. All right, moving on.
Don't shit
Does it
for
make a
rice cookers.
difference in quality?
I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
it
rice
does.
cookers are
It
better.
No, it does not. Rice cookies.
rice cookers are better.
No, it's not.
I'll tell you what, it
not
does make
true.
a big difference if you stir it, because that means you have the lid off, which means that the steam can't accumulate and you're not steaming the rice properly.
No.
You're just
So the
boiling
way
it.
we do it is we get it to a rolling boil, and then we stir it so I can move all the rice around with a little bit of salt and stuff like that to break up the rice, so that it doesn't stick to the pan. And then I put it on simmer for like 15 minutes, and
Okay.
then that's how I make my rice. So
That's how
I
you make a
I went-
risotto too, right?
I guess
No.
so. I don't know.
No,
Maybe,
that's
I
not
don't
how
know.
you
I've
make
never made a
risotto.
I've never
so
made a risotto.
I'm stirring the rice, and the water came off because I guess it was stirring a little aggressively, and then the water kind of splashed over it, and then it just landed on my foot. And
You
thankfully,
spooned boiling water onto your foot.
yeah, thankfully I had some chancletas on, my slippers. I had some slippers on, so I was good. It didn't get my whole foot, but it did create a boil, and I had a boil right on my foot. It was great. Some cyst that I don't know what to call it, but it
A
just was,
blister.
like, pretty big.
A blister, not a boil or a
it's a
cyst.
boil. It was a boil, and it was squishy, and then I went to go throw out the garbage, and then as I was walking, I felt the boil pop, and I felt the warm liquid just trail on my foot. It was great. It was a good time, guys. I'm glad I could share that story with
Some
you.
people are eating, Alex. Somewhere in the world, one of our viewers has just vomited up their
Well,
breakfast.
if you're eating, listening to this show where we talk about poop on a constant basis, then that is your own damn
We
fault.
don't talk about poop on a constant basis. We only talked about poop once or twice.
Well, we're talking about poop now.
Yeah. Okay.
Got you there.
Well,
Gotcha.
Sure.
So you don't really know what's on your head until you really like walk around with a patch on the side of your head. Because 2 nights ago, Cynthia ordered some pizza, and I was streaming, and I had to go and get the pizza from the front door. And so I got up, and I realized I didn't have my hat on. So I opened the door, and when I opened the door, I looked to the left, and I think that this guy. He saw my patch and he gave me the weirdest look, but I never understood why. And then, like, I would say, like, maybe 2-3 minutes later, Cynthia comes through the door as I'm about to, like, sit back down. She's like, "Oh my God, you didn't wear your hat." So, yeah, that pizza guy's probably like, "What's wrong?"
So you never knew that you had a patch of hair just left on your head? Cynthia just left it for
I
you as
knew.
a surprise?
No, I knew. We knew. It was a gag.
Okay.
We asked the chat whether or not we should keep the patch, and the chat said keep the patch.
Of course
So-
they did.
in my Discord right now, there's kind of this campaign called #ThePatchLives.
Right.
And they thought I was going to cut it off, but I did Twitch Rivals with the patch.
Nice.
I did a business interview with the patch. We met for this Budweiser thing that I'm doing with Bud Light Seltzer. During that meeting, they wanted cameras on. I showed them the patch. So a lot of executives in the industry have seen the patch so far.
and
so
they're
I'm
big
committed.
fans.
Still got hired.
When you grow out the rest of your hair, can you continue growing the patch into like a rat tail kind of mullet thing, but on the
God,
side
that
of
would
your
actually
head?
be horrible.
That would
Oh,
be so
we-
good.
That
we
would
have thought
actually
about-
be horrible.
Wait, like the patch actually doesn't get in the way. So there has been conversation from both parties, me and my wife, regarding whether or not we keep the patch or not.
It's like a
I think I'm
harmless
gonna
skin
shave it
tag.
off. Yeah, I think I'm gonna shave it off, mostly because I don't want my hair to grow uneven.
It's like a
Um,
brand now. People think of you when they think of the patch. It's just like it's part of you now. It's part of your brand.
like
Just
what
like an
face
emote.
is a good thing of a brand, right? But the patch, I don't know if I want the patch as a part of
Yeah,
my
you
No,
don't
brand.
people
patch is a
associate
brand.
the patch with you.
It's like
you know?
Josh's giant
should make a
forehead.
separate
Like I don't
Twitter
want
account.
that as my brand, Like
Why would you not want that as your brand? That's a very good
Look
brand.
at
It's worked
you.
well for me. Look at me. You're all forehead. You are literally 100% forehead right now.
Hey, listen,
Oh,
don't
fuck.
judge. I want you to shave your head. That's what I want you to do.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. I've done it before in the past, and it was not a good idea.
Did you
All of my friends in the UK are shaving their heads recently.
Really? Well, yeah, because
no barbers.
nobody
Yeah, no
knows how to
barbers,
cut their hair
exactly.
properly. So
Bro, they all look like skinheads.
yeah,
They're
It's rough
Yeah,
times.
they look like they're about to, I don't know, start battering people in the street.
Wouldn't you rather want to grow your hair out than to actually shave it? Because I feel like it's a once in a life opportunity to actually grow it out and see like, what do I look like? Do I look like Tarzan or do I look like a hippie freak?
You
I think
already
it works
had
both
long
one
hair,
ways,
though.
right?
Hmm?
You
Did-
spoke at the same time.
Didn't you already have long hair when you were younger?
No, maybe like to
Yeah, I've seen
Like
like
long
baby
beard,
picture
but
of
it's like-
Jonathan, and it was It wasn't shoulder length, but it
You've
was
seen
longer.
a baby picture of me.
Oh, not baby, but you were kind of baby face. You must have been like 16, 17, something like that. And you had like
it's like
you had
last
like a
year.
long fringe kind of thing.
No, we had the classic 14-year-old hairstyle where it's like medium length. you
Yeah,
know, it
it's
goes
just
fluffy.
Oh
floppy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
Anyone
uh,
have a bowl? You have a bowl
Well-
cut? Anyone here?
no.
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 Thank God.
No, our parents
No.
cared about us.
We all came from a long line of hairdressers.
It's true.
Oh
The
my God.
I feel like that works both ways though, Johnny. Like a lot of people don't have the opportunity to go bald because they don't know if it looks good or not. You know, you got a lot of
Almost,
time
True.
indoors.
almost all men will eventually experience what they look like bald. I mean, I don't know why you would
No.
want to rush it.
That's
No.
not
Almost.
I mean, well, yeah.
How many % of humanity bald?
What do you mean
like
they'll
losing
experience
it.
what they look like bald?
I feel like most men, over the course of like a full lifespan, if they live until they die of old age, would eventually lose enough hair so that they would choose to go bald. You know, even if they wouldn't go fully bald.
No, my
start bald-
my great grandfather
wait,
up until
wait.
he died
Yeah, same with my granddad.
a full thick set of hair.
Same with my granddad. But the fact that I remember that my granddad had a full set of hair means that it is unusual. It is literally the exception that proves the rule.
So
No.
proving you wrong,
Bro,
if you
no.
look up what's the percentage of humanity that is bald,
Yeah.
it is 10%.
Yeah,
So
Josh,
a
what the
total-
fuck you
but I
talking
don't mean-
about?
I don't mean
90%
bald
of the world
currently.
population are not bald. 10% are bald. There are about 7.5 billion people
Yeah,
in the
what-
world.
what about
We expect
90-year-olds?
750 million of them are bald.
When I think of an old person, I do not associate that with bald.
No, but the hair gets very, very thin and white and stuff like that. So you're more likely to just shave it all off at that point because it doesn't look good when you're old anyway, does it?
That's not true, man. Yo, have you seen Richard
it's not
Gere?
true
That
at
man
all.
looks amazing.
Yeah. I think you're full of shit.
Nah,
Listen.
man. The old people have very thin hair. Your hair gets super thin, and most men start to male pattern baldness. So get it off. Get it off.
No,
Do
I
you
feel like you're
think-
just.
I feel like you're just projecting.
Yeah, you're projecting. That's what I was going to say. You're
You've
projecting.
you've accepted that you are going to go bald at some point in your life, and you're waiting for the first sign of baldness.
Bren, do you
Yeah.
want to make a bet on who goes bald first between me and you?
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
My
How are we gonna keep count?
Well,
This
my
is not
dad,
decades.
my dad has a full set of hair right now. My granddad also has a full set of hair, but my other granddad is totally bald.
It's
So-
your mom's side, by the way.
Yeah, well, my mum's granddad is totally bald, but
Yeah.
my-
Yeah.
Because
Well,
my grandfather, from my father's side, full head of hair until he passed
on my
away.
mum's side, no one's bald.
Really?
My yeah,
What about your dad's side?
no one bald.
Oh,
This is not a good bet to take.
Yeah, I gladly made this bet, pal. How much
How are
should
you
I
gonna
do?
keep track?
Well, I feel like you just wait, and the first person that starts balding loses the bet.
both of you are
And-
basically kind of
and
sort
wait
of
there.
there already.
No,
If
I
for
mean-
you it's happening
No.
here. at
No,
the
no, no.
top going
Retreating
down. And
forehead
for
is
you,
not
Brent, It's
balding.
happening right here.
I have a fucking huge forehead. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, receding
And
hairline is
I'll-
not balding.
Yeah, but this, feel like I've always had this, but I've always had a very long fringe to cover it.
Wait a minute. Receding
you
hairline
look-
is not balding? That is
No.
not true.
Yes, it is.
If you look at some old pictures of me when I was really young, I can't find them actually. I don't exist beyond the age of previously to the age of 20. No pictures of me exist.
Really? No,
What?
don't
I
believe
can't
it.
find them because
Didn't you have a Facebook?
yeah, but I locked it down and deleted it, and I
Oh.
made a new
Your
one.
parents
Probably
didn't take
for the
pictures
best.
of you?
Yeah, they did. They definitely did. But I'll tell you what, my nan sent me some on WhatsApp. If I get my phone, I can
Oh,
look
yeah.
through them and I can show the screen.
And
Oh,
what you're
So
trying
while
to
we wait
prove?
for Bren,
Yeah.
I mean, he's right there. Never mind. Well, he's gonna find the picture.
Yeah.
I'm still.
Yeah. But do you think, here's a question. Do you think as you grow older, you fit more with a bald head? Or are there actually like 20-year-olds that look good
All right.
bald?
Perfect
feels like the
example.
older you
Perfect
get-
example. Here's me as I was just born.
Well, yeah, of course. When you're just born, you don't have hair
I
all
had
over the
hair.
time.
What is that
What the
demon
hell?
child, dude? I can't even see that. It's like bright red.
Your hair when you're first newborn rubs off anyway. It's not even real hair.
Okay, but look at the hairline on this fucker.
I can't see.
That is ridiculous.
Look
It
at
look-
that. It's just my current
You
one.
look like a fucking tomato with a wig.
Looks like you were born in an incubator, bro.
look
Yeah,
like you look like one of the
Right,
you know the
fan.
comic relief red noses, the comedy red noses that they have. You look like one of those.
Hey, here's another one. This is what happens when your family dresses you, and this is my family's sense of style. I could have been. I don't even want to show this picture, but look at this.
Ooh, child.
Oh,
look
wow.
at
Oh my
that
god,
lad.
look at that.
Look at the
Just
vest. Look at the tie. It doesn't fit me.
swag pimp daddy
So
right
you have
there.
a very long shirt that's not tucked in, a waistcoat, and then a very
But look at the
short tie.
hairline here. I've
You
always
look
had
like-
like this fringe, so but I think this hairline
Right.
has always existed. It's just been disguised.
You look
Mm.
like Chandler Bing's long lost child.
Yeah. I do
Wow,
a
a
little
little
bit.
bit. Yeah.
You know, that's what you
Yeah.
look like. A little related to
Wow.
Matthew Perry there.
What
Okay.
a thrilling conversation so far.
This has been fantastic.
I'll
This
tell you
has
what
been-
though. I'll tell you, man. I have been having some dreams recently.
Oh, here we go. Involving tears? Have you
Have you
cried?
been
No,
crying?
no
Oh
crying.
my God, Johnny.
But
What's wrong with
very-
your dreams?
Very vibrant dreams that I can't really remember them too vividly, but some that I can't repeat, and some that I can. And one that I can was that happened this morning when I woke up. I dreamt that Johnny and Josh, I was living with you guys in this house here, but the house was in the middle of just the country in America.
Okay.
And our landlord was living on the site on like a bungalow off on the side. And what had happened over the
Bungalow.
course of the dream, yeah, like a sort of like a very low
Like
house
a beach
with
house.
no
Like
stairs.
a beach house. Yeah.
Yeah, I
beach
played
house.
Age of Empires. I know.
Yeah. What?
Don't they have bungalows in Age of Empires?
I don't think
A
so. Maybe.
bungalow in Age of Empires. The Roman army just building bungalows everywhere.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I found a picture. Never mind. Go on with the story.
The,
Go on.
but the dream was you guys slowly getting murdered.
Whoa, come on!
And me having to solve the fucking murder.
Okay.
And the dream ended, I kid you not, it ended with me calling the police, with them arriving, me pointing them to all of the clues that I found that you guys had been murdered, like your severed limbs in the river, like the
That's quite a clue.
like his previous wife being murdered based on the markings on the floor, and the fact that the TV got moved and he doesn't watch television. There was a bunch of shit that I like tied together to come to the conclusion that he was murdering people.
It's quite confident
police
to know
were
that if
there.
I ever got murdered, you would solve the crime.
The police were there, and I said to them, and I gave them the last piece of evidence, and they said, "Oh shit, he's right there." And they were American, and they looked to the side, and to the side there was a window, and I couldn't see out the window, and I shat myself so much I woke up. And that was how I woke up from my dream. My heart was racing because I thought, "Fuck me, I'm next. I'm dead. I'm dead." It was like
God.
the fight or flight response just kicked in.
I had a similar dream. Have I told this on the foreheads? I had this dream in December. I remember it because it was after we played poker in the
Okay.
Philadelphia Fusion House. And we got home. That was that night I came home, which usually goes on until like
Was that-
3 a.m.
Yeah, it was
After
like
we had
4 or
the
5
strippers
a.m.
or before?
Well, that's funny you say that because there were strippers in the dream.
Okay.
So I had this dream, and we were stuck on an island, but the street we were at was the street we lived on in Glendale. So it's the three of us, and we're like drunk as hell. Like it's like we went to K-Town, and we're just wasted, and we're like falling on the street. The three of us at this corner, and apparently we're right next to a strip club. So there's a bunch of strippers that come out, and we start playing this game. You know, when there's like chairs. And like you run around. And
Oh
there's,
yeah, musical chairs.
Yeah, musical chairs. So we play musical chairs on the street in Glendale we used to live at.
Sure.
Eventually, I call it quits. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna Uber back home. So I get in an Uber. Turns out my Uber driver is a fucking psycho murderer. So he drives me out into the woods. And I'm like, this is not where I live. And he tries to he takes me out to his barn and he tries to murder me. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So I can't remember how, but eventually I escape. Like I run away from this guy's barn and just like I have to warn Brennan Sideshow. So I run for like 10 minutes and then I Uber back to the street in Glendale that we used to live at.
Yeah.
But there's only the strippers and the chairs left and you two are gone. And I asked the strippers, like, where's Brennan Sideshow? And they're like, oh, they Ubered away. And my first thought is, oh my God, they got the psycho murderer driver. And so I'm on this chase to go back to the barn, and I find the two of you in this barn, like passed out, unsuspecting of what's like happening. And essentially, I kill this murderer, and I save the two of you, and then I woke up. But
Christ.
I still remember it 4 months later because it really got to me, man.
But why did it make such a big impression on you?
Because he saved you.
Because I
he's just
saved you.
implying
You
that he
guys were in
cares about you
danger.
so
You were about to
much.
die. Yeah.
Okay.
He
And I
cares
had to
about
save
you
you.
so much. You
Yeah,
know, also
it
bothers
was
me too that
horrifying.
these dreams involve just the three of you, and I just seem to be left out. You know,
Well,
kind of breaks my heart.
We've also never lived.
You were
with
one of the
Alex.
strippers.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I actually had a weird dream as well. This one happened today. It was the weirdest freaking thing ever. So I dreamt that me and Cynthia were living, funny enough, in California, and we were living in like, you guys been to like Doa's place, right? Where he
Yeah.
has like that, multi-tiered home.
Yeah, the palace, the
yeah,
Doa's
like, yeah.
palace.
Yeah, it's Doa's palace. So I dreamt that we were living in a place like that. So it's like 3 floors, just like, nice, looking apartments. Anyway, but I like woke up from a nap in the dream, hearing a person outside with a bullhorn saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have identified that apples are a big like conductor for the coronavirus. So please
Apples,
throw
like the
out-"
fruit.
Yeah, so it's like, please throw out all of your apples right now. And then everyone just started chucking their apples outside of the window at this man, by the way, who is announcing it. So he's just getting pelted by apples. And I'm looking and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with humanity? And they're just chucking their apples, all these apples just out in the middle of the street. I didn't understand for the life of me why this was happening. And then a man still has the bullhorn and he's getting hit with the apples. He's like, my nuts, and he's just like getting destroyed by these apples. And then I wake up and then I wake up and I go to my wife in the living room, like, in real life. I go to my wife in the living room and I was like, babe, I just had this dream where like apples were a major conductor of the coronavirus. And then at that moment, she was planting an apple tree in Animal Crossing, and she's like, "Oh, that's nice." That was the weirdest thing, bro.
What? I find it strange the dreams that you remember. That's the weirdest part of it. Is like, why are you?
Yeah.
Why did that one make a big impact on you? You know,
Because I thought
Well,
it was
because
so
they're
ridiculous.
relatable, no?
relatable.
Like, I find that the dreams... Well, no, what? Okay, sorry.
Apples being a
Let me
conductor for the
rephrase that.
coronavirus is relatable.
No, but let me rephrase this. Like, I think that the dreams stem from psychology, and so the dreams that stick to you are things that you care about. So in this instance, it's not about Apple spreading coronavirus. It's that Alex is like actually scared of the coronavirus, and something unsuspecting sort of makes him attracted. And so it stems from the fear of the coronavirus itself, and then a random element that actually like surprises him and makes it a nightmare. So like,
But
I mean,
it
it's
wasn't
not
really a
relatable.
nightmare. It was more funny.
That you... Oh, never mind.
Because the guy was getting hit in the nuts with apples. It was genuinely hilarious.
That's true.
My thought, though, Johnny, is that dreams are an extension of an alternate reality. And that
Okay,
that
I'm
is
not
just
on
a
board with
glimpse
that.
of getting an alternate reality window.
Really? You
That's what I
think
think.
that your dream of a man's testicles getting shredded by apples that the people of Earth had to discard in order to save them from a pandemic, you believe that was an alternate reality that you looked into?
Bro, there could be an infinite amount of realities
Are you,
out there.
You ever taken DMT?
Have you, Bren?
Fucking sounding like it right now.
No,
No,
man,
I've never taken DMT.
There's just some times where I legit think to myself, like, yo, these dreams are so vivid and weird and different. And what if there are these infinite realities out there?
All right.
That just
Well, let me paint this
exist?
picture for you. Okay.
Okay.
Imagine 32 million years ago,
Right.
you are a primate, one of the earliest primates that's existed.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, this was a long time ago. Remember, that was about the halfway point towards the meteorite hitting the Earth with the dinosaurs and shit. You know what I mean?
Wait, what?
From
The
now until
halfway point.
from now until then, until the meteor. That was like the midway point between us and the meteor hitting was when these primates existed.
Okay.
They have discovered evidence that these primates that existed 32 to 35 million years ago likely traveled on rafts made of vegetation to other continents because they've
I am
tracked
so confused.
they've tracked the teeth of these let me find the exact thing real quick.
Did they have DMT?
No.
So what you mean
me
is,
find-
when you say rafts made of vegetation, that's a raft, right? Because vegetation is just wood.
Hold up.
So
So yeah, I mean it could be vines, could be something waterlogged, that floats, who knows. But basically, so here's the thing. Although there are many primate lineages in the old world, it is thought that the new world is home to just one group. The Platyrrhine monkeys. I probably butchered that one, but apologies. Which
apologies
appears
to any
have colonized-
Platyrrhine monkeys listening.
Well, just any people who have
Any
an actual
science
background
minds.
in this.
Right,
Science
okay.
minds.
For butchering it, but they appear to have colonized the region during the Eocene. Don't know what that means. I think it's presumably the period of time
Yeah.
of when this occurred. The guy who did the research on this article describes a new primate species on the basis of fossil molars found in the Peruvian Amazon that appears to belong to a group of primates best known from northern Africa.
Whoa.
And the fossils appear to be from a well-differentiated lineage, suggesting that this species had been evolving within South America for quite some time. And it's likely that the ancestors of this new species arrived. This is like basically a theory, but they theorize that the only way this could have even got here, this species, this subspecies of primate, is via a transatlantic rafting event when sea levels dropped at the Eocene period, 32 to 35 million years ago. So imagine, put yourself in the shoes of this monkey, okay? You are foraging for nuts on the coastline of northern Africa, okay? Life is good. You've got a lady primate over there who's interested in you. You might even be the alpha male at some point. Your fangs are getting pretty big. You're putting on a bit of muscle.
This is like
mass.
best case scenario.
Sure,
Like
yeah.
you could just
but
be an incel too,
could just be an incel monkey. But imagine this. Imagine this. He is on the coastline foraging for God knows what, bugs, nuts, something like that. And he's hanging on a big old thick piece of vegetation when suddenly a storm hits. He takes cover in a cove. Next thing you know, the storm is getting worse and worse and worse. And the cave that he's taken refuge in is starting to rise. The sea level starting to rise as the cave starts to flood from the sea. And he has to grab onto a bunch of vines and twigs and collected brambles and whatever else. And next thing you know, he's floating out to sea and he can't escape. And he's seeing the distant shoreline just escaping further and further and further. And his little primate brain is so confused because all he's thinking about is fucking that lady primate and collecting nuts. And he can't think of anything else, but he's like, why is the land getting further away? And he's petrified. And he wakes up a couple of days later, dehydrated on the coastline of Peru.
Or dead.
No, because he survived. And then there
How
was...
long is that?
Here's what I don't quite
would
understand.
be closer.
Exactly. What did the continent structure actually look like that many million years ago?
What
because
did
it's
the world look
And
like?
what does this have to do with
35.
infinite dimensions as my
I
I
don't
just
think
want
it
you
does,
to
Alex.
go. I just want you to go. Think and I want you to think. Oh, Eocene. Okay, here you go.
a bunch of scene
Peru
kids,
is-
a lot of them.
Peru is on the west coast of
Oh, it was
South
much. It was much closer.
America.
It was much closer.
yeah, it must
Yeah, I
have
don't
been,
know
right?
why
Yeah.
they went Peru. Probably okay. They said like Peruvian America, but maybe they
What they mean
used
by is
Peruvian
Andes. They probably
America
mean Andes.
to describe. Well, maybe in this case. I
Do
don't
you
know.
have a link for me as to what the continents look like?
Yeah. Give me a second. I've got like 50 tabs open.
Because you're saying that they made the assumption here is that they
I
made
think this
a
is it, yeah.
transatlantic voyage.
Yeah,
Right.
From northwestern Africa to South America.
Okay, and this is from Wikipedia, the Epresian Earth. Okay, so so you're saying from northern Africa to where? Sorry,
to
to
it said
Peru, but
Peruvian
I have
America,
to-
but maybe not Peruvian America.
I think it's the Andes. I think it's like that whole region. Then again though, the Andes is I think it's north to south, so it's hard to
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that is still. I mean, what they went through the Panama Canal. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let me. I mean,
is there another
Peruvian
Regardless,
Amazon.
though,
the Peruvian
So
Amazon?
the Peruvian Amazon.
Oh, so that's
presumably it
through that
landed
little
in the-
crack.
It landed in the Amazon, and the species evolved and ended up in Peru in the Peruvian Amazon.
Okay.
But that's they would have traveled across the Atlantic Ocean. So yeah, the evidence suggests that the New World monkeys and rodents of the Western Hemisphere derived from source groups from the Eocene of Afro-Arabia, a landmass that was 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers east of South America during the late Paleogene, presumably another period of time. And they're reporting evidence for a third mammalian lineage of African origin in the Paleogene of South America. So a newly discovered genus and species. Really interesting.
actually pretty sick.
Put yourself in that situation with that monkey, and just imagine yourself clinging to a raft in the sea, thinking he was dead about a week ago, and then next thing you know, he lands in a world as presumably one of the dominant, not predators, but these foreign life forms. When they get into these areas they're not supposed to, they just kind of take over.
You sound weirdly like that's like the first type of xenophobia right there. It's like these bloody monkeys coming over here from Africa ruining our Amazon. It's
for the Amazonian monkeys. Oh my god.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, like the invasive species. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
Like bull toads.
But that
in
doesn't
Australia.
always. I mean, the ones that survive end up are like the invasive species, right? There must be a load of species that arrive in places aren't suited for it and end up just dying out. Like, I don't think
Isn't
all
this
species
what,
that invade are better.
Isn't this what Sapiens is about a little bit, Bren? How like there
Yeah.
were many different kinds of humans. They have names, but ultimately only one survived and became like the dominant one, and it's
Yeah.
the one we stem from.
Yes,
You know better
but
than me.
this is the primates this is describing would have been far too early for like that.
Oh, okay.
This is just at this point there was God knows how many branches, but I don't know.
But
I
what
wish
if
there was
like
like
one of
alternate
the others,
timeline to study shit like this. I just
an
feel like I
alternate
can't keep up
timeline?
with
You
all-
said an
No,
alternate
because like I have so
timeline.
much shit going on that I just want alternate timelines to do all of these things. Like I want one timeline for Owl. I want one timeline to just sit in Discord with Bren and talk about shit like this because it honestly is so interesting. But I feel like I don't have the time for it.
So-
you
And I
say-
want
Yeah.
one timeline to play Classic WoW on, and like I can just do all of that.
I also
You
I,
still
the
playing
time.
Classic WoW?
Huh?
You still playing Classic WoW? That
Yeah.
ship sailed, dude. It's not popular anymore. Get off the wagon.
oh wow.
You're not allowed to
How
play
are you
anymore.
going to
It's not
say that?
popular.
How are you going to say that? That's one of my hobbies, and I see you as a friend, Golden Boy. Don't you support my hobbies?
Yes, Johnny. I support your hobbies. I agree that there's not enough time in a day. Not to sound like I am bragging, maybe a little, but there.
You got the time, bro.
Well, ever since this whole quarantine thing happened, I think all of us were like super unsure as to like what was going to happen. We didn't know like what the future would hold as far as the, whether we're going to be able to cast again, the events,
Yeah.
yada yada yada. So anyway, I somehow went from being like just a sloth with all the time in the world to literally having no time in the day to do anything.
Same
Because
here.
Everyone has
Yeah.
decided that they want to do everything at the same time
Yeah.
on the same day all the time. And it is like very frustrating because I was getting like, and I'm very grateful, like I was getting work. And I did like the T1, no, not the T1 thing, but I was offered the T1 thing. But at that time, I was also offered the Twitch Rivals thing, and then I was offered like this other Twitch Rivals bit, and then there was another stream I had to do, and it was just like stacked. It was like stacked, essentially, is what I'm saying. And like in a span of a week and a half, like my time went from being like really open and just flexible to Yeah, no, you got no time to do anything. I'm not doing Titan Games voiceovers because they sent me all this stuff. Then I was receiving like 15 million packages from EA for God knows what reason. I'm not even working Apex anymore, so don't know why that's happening. And there was just like a lot of, and I'm still receiving packages, lol. So there's just a lot of just craziness going on. And dude, like, where's all the time gone, man?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, it's disappeared, bro.
I do sound a little ungrateful though, so I do want to preface that I'm
No,
very
quarantine just made me super productive because like I have a set schedule and like I have my days planned out. Before quarantine, it was like, well, some days I gotta go this, some days I gotta Uber to this place and do this, and now I'm just home working all the time. So anyway, Anyway,
Yeah.
cool topic. I do feel like we brushed over Brent's story a little bit. I still think about that because it was a really fascinating story. And
What,
I
the
kinda just
monkeys?
diverted.
No,
Yeah, I
it-
still
it-
think
it-
about the
yeah.
monkeys, dude.
Well, I
still
mean,
think
just,
about the log, bro.
I
I
looked
just
up
wanted to bring
the
it up.
I looked up the width of the Atlantic Ocean now, and it seems like it was about half as big back then.
Oh,
But I mean, even so, a ridiculous voyage. But just to add a little bit of
Lower
context.
sea levels, I think, maybe, or maybe. I
But
don't
why
know.
would lower sea levels affect things? I don't really.
It's less sea to
less-
travel across?
What? Oh, right. You mean because the land starts
Yeah.
earlier? Yeah.
Sideshow's reaction.
I was like, that sounds like some Papega shit right there. Like you're traveling the depth first.
It is you who is the Papeg.
But also, I think probably the depth of the ocean contributes somewhat to how tumultuous the journey is as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, that's a great call. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why the gap between Russia and the USA is, what do they call it? Is it the Bering Strait? Is that what that is? Or
I actually don't know.
Yeah, something like that. What am I going crazy? The Bering Strait?
Oh, okay, I could see how he ended up in the.
Yeah, Bering
Peru.
Strait.
Yeah, the Bering Strait. I think that is
Yeah, I mean,
incredibly
they probably
deep
just
water,
walked,
which makes it
right?
very difficult to navigate.
Isn't that where they fish for crabs?
I have no idea. I think it's somewhere near Kamchatka in Russia, and I think they do some kind of fishing voyages up there.
Yo, deadliest catch, bro. What a show.
You know what? What I realized,
that
you
shit.
guys have just played so much of that freaking GeoGuessr game. That this is like all you want to talk about now. It's just like Earth and how it all connects. And traveling and locations. This all actually stems from that shit, from that
GeoGuessr is a good
GeoGuessr
game.
poison.
It's a great
Yeah.
game.
Okay.
It's a great game.
GeoGuessr is a good game. It's tests your geography knowledge that you didn't think you had, but you there's like so many little hidden quirks in countries that you don't even realize
Yeah.
exist.
I've been
you know,
enjoying
until
doing
you
the
play.
famous places one and just learning about more incredible famous places to go and visit at some point as well. There's so many dope pieces of architecture and like.
Yeah, I
landmarks
really
around
want
the
to
world that I
visit
never knew about.
Montenegro and
Yeah.
Albania.
Yeah.
Yeah, my best
let's
friend
go-
actually went to Albania for an Above and Beyond show. He said it was like one of the best experiences of his
Nice.
life.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. Losofo.
Lazov.
It's like it's not pronounced like Lesotho. It's pronounced differently. But in South Africa, Lesotho
Oh,
is beautiful.
right. Yeah.
Africa in general is so that is the only place, that's the only continent me and Cynthia have not visited.
Lesotho.
yet. Well, not only continent, actually, I stand corrected. But that is one of the major continents because we haven't gone to Greenland and we haven't gone to Antarctica. We haven't gone there, but Africa's a pretty big one, right? Because there's
Yeah.
so many amazing
enormous.
bits of history.
It's a lot of
not only
places
that,
to
you
visit,
also
yeah.
Egypt, you know. That is like one of the places that we definitely
Yeah,
want to
Egypt,
go to
definitely.
because there's so much. There's something I want to do. I was walking around, the city a few months back with Cynthia. We were like shopping, and we ran across this Ethiopian street food restaurant.
Dude, Ethiopian
And-
food is amazing.
Bro, that shit slapped, man.
Yeah,
I looked at Cynthia because I hate flying. So I looked at Cynthia and said, "Babe, we're gonna go to Ethiopia." And she's like,
Also, Ethiopia, one of
Seriously?
the only Christian countries in South Africa as well.
"Really?
Those make great
I didn't know
coffee.
that."
Yeah. Yep. So if you're ever on
Coffee-
GeoGuessr and you're you see a lot of people of African descent, but you see a lot of Orthodox symbols on walls of things, probably in Ethiopia.
You know, do you have any concept of how big Africa is, though? Africa's fucking enormous. I mean,
Yeah, every time I press in Africa, I still get like 10 points.
you can-
everything's so far away.
you can fit the whole of the USA and the whole of China and the whole of India and most of Europe inside of Africa.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Like, it is enormous. It's
Hey, what's also pretty big?
unbelievably large. Yes, you
Australia.
No, you can fit a lot in Africa, but I mean, not
Yep.
most of Europe.
You okay?
No.
Let me
Yeah.
show you this.
Because you're looking at the map, your vision is skewed of it.
Yeah, it's called the
'Cause
Mercator
you-
projection.
Yeah, the Mercator projection makes it look bigger.
So look at this picture that I just posted in the doc. It's an infographic called "The True Size of Africa" that I wanted to show you guys.
Dude,
it's
it's
bananas.
that is
Oh, that is
ridiculous.
nuts.
Oh my god.
That is
Like-
crazy. You showing that to the viewers, man?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, it's wild and like
Holy.
yeah, it's absolutely bananas. I think people just don't appreciate how truly monstrous in terms of size Africa is, and it has massive diversity in terms of just like the people, the cultures, the the geography, all of
actually, a lot of people don't realize that, but when people see an image of a desert, they often think, "Oh, that's just Africa." Like they just think of that as Africa, but
Yeah.
they don't realize, bro. Go onto Google Street View, go down to Lesotho in South Africa, and you will see mountains like you've never seen before. I'm talking Avatar shit, bro. Floating islands with waterfalls and shit. Maybe not floating
Yo,
islands, but
Maybe not floating islands. I mean, that'd be impossible.
We should do a
But something like
forest
it.
journey and climb Kilimanjaro.
I'm down.
Isn't
But also,
Kilimanjaro a
Namibia-
very boring mountain to climb? Because it's just
apparently,
like
yeah, a lot of it's paved.
it's not. Yeah, it's just like a fucking long paved
Okay.
road.
Okay,
So do you
okay,
wanna
fuck
go
it.
to
Let's
one-
go Mount Everest.
Okay, no, then we
fuck
die.
both of y'all, all three of y'all. I don't want to do that. Okay, listen, Puerto Rican people don't do shit like that. All right, that's
Why
number
not?
one. We stay on the ground. Okay, we don't try and take
Yeah,
to
you're
the
still on
sky
the ground.
when we fly. But yeah, you know you're still on the ground, but we ain't trying to go into some damn mountain. We don't
But
rock
also,
climb.
I think that's a
okay?
bit disrespectful to Puerto
We-
Rican people.
Bro, I'll
You're
tell
trying
you,
to-
a lot of Puerto Rican people that'd be like, "Nah, I'm good." Because
You're
we're
trying to
smart.
imply that Puerto Rican people are not adventurous. They didn't take risks. They
I'm
don't,
not saying
you know?
Puerto Rican people aren't adventurous. What I'm saying is that we are intelligent in that we do our best to minimize
There's-
any kind of risk that
Oh,
we would
boy.
put. Because if not, then we can't take care of our abuelas and our
That-
abuelos, and you know that's just not something that we can do. So we can't
Such
afford
a
that.
little bitch attitude. You know, there's got to be.
Okay.
There's got to be a part of your Homo sapien brain that wants risk. You know, there's something that makes humans climb mountains and take on challenges, and because challenges can often be associated with great rewards. You never know what's on the top of that mountain until you actually try.
Yeah, sure.
So the,
No,
the,
it's
the
okay.
first Homo sapiens that were like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking climb that mountain, and everyone's looking at him like, dude, he's
Listen,
crazy.
For real. I'm actually for real when I say this. I know it sounds entertaining and like for the fun of the podcast, but I'm actually for real when I think that the four of us could secure a TV show contract on the Travel Channel and go discover places. I think we could make it happen.
Okay,
we have,
all right.
we have
Friends
the
GeoGuessr.
following. We have a great podcast. We've shown on YouTube that we can take
Mhm.
equipment like Sideshow and travel and do great videos, etc.
All we need is GoPros.
Golden Boy knows The Rock. He can give us a plane. It's fine. I say make it happen. I want to spend some years of my life go traveling.
I like how my
Okay.
only
Some cool
contribution is that I know another
You know The
person
Rock.
that and then that's it.
He
That's all
has
I
a
got.
plane.
Look, I'm just
okay.
saying, if we all need separate brands, you can be the guy who hooks the three of us up. Like it's always Golden Boy who hooks us up with a plane.
I could
You
be like the
you know,
exhibit of the situation. I heard you like to climb mountains, so what I decided to do, put a fish tank in your knapsack. There you go. Climb the mountain, have fun. It's a challenge. Bring the fish with you. Goldfish Mountain.
You'll leave like the
Kilimanjaro.
notes, like in the morning, like note from Golden Boy in the morning, just like, unlucky for you, you have no more gasoline in your car. You'll have to find an alternate way to reach Kilimanjaro. I provided a few bikes in the back. Take this apple and go forth on your journey.
Do you
I think-
remember
Sincerely,
that?
I think-
Do you remember that
Golden
Chappelle show one when he did the P Diddy making the band, and he needed them to go get like Somalian breast milk or something like that? Do you ever see
What?
Chappelle's show?
What?
It was so good. There was a clip where he's Dave Chappelle's acting like P Diddy. And there was this show called Making the Band, if you guys don't remember,
No.
where P Diddy was like in the process of making the next big pop R&B band, right?
Okay.
Like music group. And because this is when like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and all these other like big bands were like popping off and stuff. So the funny thing in the show is that he used to just send them on challenges that had nothing to do with actual music. It was just ways to create drama. So
Right.
then, like in one of the bits, Dave Chappelle, again acting like P Diddy, he's like, "All right, man, what I'm gonna need you to do," mind you, gets dragged in on the shoulders of a giant man because P Diddy was just ridiculous. He was like, "What I'm gonna need you to do is I need you to go to this neighborhood in the middle of Cambodia and get me some fresh Cambodian breast milk, and then after that, I want to be able to eat a ostrich egg raw. Make sure you get that for me. You got 30 minutes. Go." and then like that would be the challenge. And then he would at the end of the challenge, he was like, "That's some good Cambodian breast milk. You guys win." Like just super shit like that. It was actually a great episode. Chappelle Show, underrated. Love that
Okay.
show. Cambodian breast milk.
I can't stop thinking about this idea about Travel Channel.
Okay.
We'll be,
wait.
like stuck in like Ethiopia or some shit, and like we'll disagree about something. Golden Boy's gonna lose it and be like, "I want to call my wife. Like I can't handle these 3 idiots anymore." And it's like,
I am
drama,
down.
hard cuts, dramatic music. It's like,
I am
it'll be great.
down to go somewhere with you guys. Cynthia's gonna come, by the way. There's no way around it.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that.
I
for
am
the
down to
record.
go with you guys somewhere and see what we get into. But I swear to God, if I get into some Yakuza freaking dance battle in the middle of a bar in nowhere in Japan, or you take me to some weird situation in Thailand and where there's a possibility I might lose my spleen, like I'm not doing any of that. Okay.
Mm.
Puerto
Stumble upon some
Ricans don't
pirates.
take dumbass risks. That's why they ain't no Puerto Ricans in a lot of these murder movies. Okay, because we ain't gonna be in those situations.
But I think you would be the. Have you ever seen Idiot Abroad?
Yeah, I've seen Idiot Abroad. It's
Yeah, you would be
hilarious.
the idiot.
I'm not an idiot because I've traveled I've traveled so
Okay,
much.
but you seem to me, after talking about the mountains, you're very risk averse. You
Yeah,
don't
bro.
take risks.
Have you seen whales? They're massive. I don't want to be in the
Well,
ocean with some whales.
We're not gonna be in the ocean.
That's what I'm saying. Like, next thing you know, we're gonna climb a mountain, and Brent's gonna be like, "You know what? I want to do swim with some whales. Fuck out of here! I ain't gonna do that. I'm not trying to die."
You don't need to swim with whales. You just, I don't know, man. You just, I don't know.
What are you gonna say?
Would you, if I said, "All right, Alex, they've discovered a new tribe in the Amazon." Okay.
No, come on.
They've discovered a new tribe in the Amazon. They haven't had human contact yet. And we've managed to sweet talk the local officials into letting you be their first contact.
Why me? Why not Josh or
Because
Johnny?
we record you, because
Then
we'd
just
record
kill
you and
people.
just send you in and see what happens.
And then
Would you
I
do it?
die. And then
Would
I
you do it?
die.
Would you
And
do
no,
it?
I would not do it. Hell no. I
Oh
would
my
not do
god,
it.
I would 100% do that.
So then we'll film your bitch ass gonna go and talk to
First
them.
contact, bro. I'd
They're
be
just gonna
stripping
kill
off my
you.
clothes. I'd be going in there.
Then
No,
let's
that-
record you.
Why?
Many
Sorry,
people
sorry,
have done that and just died.
sorry. Why would you strip off your clothes?
Maybe
Show
I'm
no
presuming
threat.
too much.
Sorry, why are you stripping off
But-
your clothes?
But
Nobody
in the
ever
videos
mentioned
I've
that.
seen- the videos I've seen of people getting first contact with Amazon tribes, a lot of them are not wearing any clothes.
Right.
So
A lot
to
of
make
the-
them feel more comfortable, what
You
they
want to
do
look
is they strip
Okay.
off their clothes and
Alright.
then they go and they meet them naked because it's what they're used to, even if
Right.
it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable for the fucking God knows whoever's meeting them.
So go.
I mean, the
get
only
naked,
person,
Brent.
the only nation that would be comfortable in that scenario is probably the Germans. So I don't know. We could send the Germans in to get first contact with these tribes, I guess. But
Isn't that a
I'm not
common
sure.
thing though? That I think I've read. I don't know why I have this idea that like a lot of like Christian priests would try to engage contact with like clans to try and persuade them to join Christianity, but the tribes just end up killing the priests.
They're still
they're
doing
like-
that?
Probably.
yeah, probably.
I don't know. I don't know if they still do it, but isn't that something that happened in the past? I have this idea. I don't know
Probably,
why.
yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, homie's always trying to get out there and convert folks. So all I'm saying is that there's a difference between, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, which is something that has been done
Sure.
that is manageable, but can still be funny, versus going and meeting a tribe for the first time, making human contact with them for the first time. And
Yeah, God, I mean,
that's just
can you imagine what
something
their
I won't wanna
impression
do.
of the rest of humanity would be if they met any of us for the first time?
well, I
That's
think
not
that
something
they would think that I'm a stand-up human being.
Really?
I mean, your hair looks pretty relatable to them. So
Yeah, I'll show them the path.
I don't think it
bro.
does actually.
No, it doesn't.
I think it looks
no, I
the
mean your
opposite.
sideshows.
Mine?
Sideshows. Yeah.
Why does
'Cause
mine
it's
look
kinda-
relatable?
It's kind of wild, you know. It's like kind of, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnny can't roll up there with his beautiful full head of hair and his Swedish
Exactly.
height.
No, I couldn't. I just.
Okay.
I'd be the enemy.
But
of the
imagine
state.
though if Johnny was the first one to meet him, like, here these people are going about their daily lives, right? Giving water to the locals and making new bits and bobs and crafting, and then out of nowhere from the forest in on the side, you see something. It's like rather tall. You think it's a predator. You're not too sure. They're a little concerned. They're wondering what's going on as they look over, and then they just see this beautiful head of hair and this massively tall white man as he comes out through the forest. Butt ass naked with these giant feet, giant hands, and then the first thing he tells him is he calls them papagas. That thing would be wild, bro. That would be content for days. Johnny,
Yeah.
let's send you. Let's send you.
I just go
Hold up,
like
but-
I'll do the calculated approach. I'd go full Luke Skywalker on these bitches, just like flying chairs, like attach some ropes in trees and whatnot, like pull some magic tricks, and they'll be like,
oh, now you're going in a different direction. Now you're trying to
No,
fake.
that'd be
now
fun.
Yeah,
trying
you're trying to
fake shit.
hoodwink them.
Yeah.
what?
You're talking about doing magic tricks. What?
Yeah, because like I bring gifts, like I bring some oranges or something, and then I put some
Would
magic
you
tricks.
guys? Okay.
Oranges.
Yeah,
you
like
guys-
gifts. Bring
would you
gifts.
guys-
They have to be like he contributed to the clan, the tribe.
Okay.
Would you guys
We
go
like
to
him now.
Nepal,
Yes.
climb the cave walls? Not the cave walls, but the cliffs to harvest hallucinogenic honey
Yeah, why not?
with primitive
Wait, the honey hunting?
safety harnesses.
Not
I would-
well.
yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure.
For the experience.
Golden
Probably.
boy. What?
So I
Golden
think
boy.
I would.
I'm
do you
looking
know
at
what
this
that-
video right now from National Geographic.
What about
Dangerous
the honey?
honey hunting.
Yeah. So I know in like the Amazon when they're hunting honey, it's wild. Like they're risking their lives for just a little bit of a sugar rush.
Really?
But in Nepal, they're risking their lives to get high. Because this honey just fucks you up.
Oh, the
Like
wild
the flowers that it comes
Yeah,
from,
yeah.
Okay, that sounds a big
it's
thing.
incredibly hallucinogenic.
Yeah, that sounds.
Nah.
If you're wondering why I sound slightly distracted, I'm practicing my aim for the Overwatch tournament. Because I haven't played this game in a while. So and I'm
Dude.
running with my CS sense. So
Bless me.
Golden boy, what is that guy called who's bald on YouTube? He's like bald and does like explain videos.
Joe
on
Rogan?
YouTube. No, he is like
Vsauce, Michael here.
Vsauce?
That guy.
Oh
yeah, Vsauce. He did like a travel series, or no, it was like an experiment series on YouTube.
Bless you.
Oh, sorry. I think I'm allergic to bullshit discussions like this.
I don't know. I'm just thinking like all these people go traveling and do cool shit. I'm like, we could also do cool shit, but instead I'm flying around in Elwyn Forest and fucking picking herbs.
I feel like
cool shit.
I feel like you're just getting a bit stir crazy from not being able to go outside.
Yeah.
And so you're going
Yeah,
to the
little-
You had
furthest
no
extreme.
urge to go traveling.
Not right
I
now.
do
You
think
don't want to
after
go
this-
explore.
Not right now.
I think after lockdown, people are going to be really doing some crazy shit.
Yeah,
Do you
I
not
think-
think?
I think
Bars,
travel's gonna
when they open
explode.
are sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
People
sure.
people are gonna be living their best lives after quarantine. You know what I mean?
If that ever
Yeah.
happens.
I'm gonna be traveling a lot. I'm gonna be going to fucking Nepal,
yeah. I would want
Kosovo, Montenegro, everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere.
There you go. Do it up. You know what? Listen. Okay.
I'm telling you.
I think-
Also, I'm just saying we're gonna win this Overwatch tournament. My aim, crispy. It's on point.
Okay, wonderful. Good to know.
Yes.
A
Oh my
flight to
God.
Nepal takes 40 hours and costs $3,000.
From
Gee.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
What?
Well,
are you
right
looking at
now
it
are
right
big
now?
Expensive though.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
they're
there's probably
high,
about
yeah.
2 flights running in the whole world.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was much demand for flights to Nepal though.
Well, yeah, but if there's no supply, then it's still going to be mega expensive.
And when
Okay,
once
I
everything
messed
comes
up.
back
I'm
up,
sorry.
yeah, Nepal is a like Nepal somewhere I did want to go. I did want to go
Yeah,
to Nepal. I want to go to
Nepal.
Jerusalem too. Like I just want to see
Jerusalem
shit. You know?
I really want to go on these. What are they called? It's like meditation groups, and like you go to Nepal, and you just like no phone for a week, nothing going on for a week, and it's just you and a guide, and you do like meditation. You do some like rituals, like without any.
Are you
social
talking about
kind of
the-
internet or whatever?
Okay,
They
never
call it
mind.
like retreats, like a meditation retreat or whatever. Like I
Aren't
just
they
wanna do that
like
in
known
Nepal
for
like a
sexually
week.
harassing women?
What? Are
Yeah,
they?
like the
Well,
yeah, like-
immediately retracting that statement.
I don't know,
So-
no, but like the gurus and shit, where people like go out to discover themselves in these fucking, I don't know, like Argentina or wherever the fuck else they're going for these things, or Peru.
I mean, that sounds more like a cult.
they're ran by like these gurus, and they prey on women in like a lot of these scenarios.
That sounds more like a cult, not like a Buddhist kind of.
Yeah, but that's what kind of what they are. But like, yeah, they're like not. I'm not saying Buddhist, but like they're like these spiritual retreats. I was reading a BBC article about it, about how a lot of them are just
Could be right, yeah.
yeah, a lot of them. I'm not putting you down. I mean, go for your spiritual retreat, but yeah, just be careful, Johnny, because you might get preyed upon by the guru.
Oh yeah, maybe.
know?
I was thinking about this.
I'm gonna
as you
go
guys
settle
were talk-
down there.
As you guys were talking about traveling and stuff, so I realized that my thing when I travel is that I'm more about food. Like I like discovering new food and learning the culture through food. Whenever me and Cynthia go places, like that's our hook. Yeah, we go to sites and stuff, and it's great. But the thing that we are excited about is trying out different cuisines, different ingredients, ways to prepare things. That to us is the adventure. I do like that there are so many different kinds of travelers that exist. Because one of my favorite YouTube channels is this guy named Mark Weems, who he's a Thai food like vlogger, and he goes all over the world. Literally, if you go to his YouTube channel, it's nuts. Like the amount of places that this guy has gone to, it's bananas. And all he's doing is just traveling for food. He's learning new cuisines and taking in all this delicious variety that's out there in the world. That to me is like adventure. I don't care about the death-defying stuff and climbing mountains. Like I truly do not give a flying rat's ass about that. But what I will always remember is the delicious savory feeling of having something that you've never experienced in your life.
You don't want a near-death experience?
Not at all. One of my favorite things was we were in Portugal, me and my wife in Lisbon, and we went to this meat spot that they gave you the meat on the skewer. But what was sick was that they put all the ingredients like at the bottom, and then they would hang the meat on the skewer so that all of the juices would actually drip onto like your rice and your beans and everything. So you were taking it all in at the same time, like peeling away at whatever meat was up there, whether it was like chicken or pork or beef or whatever the meat may be. And that to me was something I'll never forget about Lisbon, Portugal. We didn't have a great time in Lisbon, honestly. It like beautiful city, but we really were like kind of not sure. It was a last minute trip. We weren't really sure where to go, but that restaurant made the entire trip for me. So that's how I travel. Just so you guys know, it's not
From
really
food place
to,
to
like,
food place.
Yeah, it's not really
That's
trying to
why
like go to like some crazy.
You would
shit.
be perfect for a traveling show where we just forced you to do shit out of your comfort zone, like climbing
Yes.
Kilimanjaro,
No.
Yes.
It's
Or-
not happening.
making first contact with tribes in the Amazon.
I found the
No.
BBC article, I think, that you were talking about, by the way, Brent. I don't think it was like a spiritual place. It was a compilation of sexual abuse accusations of shamans from ayahuasca retreats.
Yeah,
in-
probably that.
in South America. And it's kind of saying that as the tourism has increased, more of the places that are offering it have people at the head of it that are taking advantage of the lone women that end up doing it as part of their tourism visits to South America.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
It's a shame that
But it's
humans
also-
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it's interesting. I mean, it's unrelated to what you just said, but it's interesting how that has become such a hot tourism kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like pretty well known at this point, and like
Yeah.
a lot of people do it, and it's just like it's become this thing that a lot of people are excited about, want to do.
I think people are just
Um,
tired of their lives.
Yeah, well, I mean, eventually, if it continues, it's going to become like commercialized and shit. Like that's unreal.
I mean, I think it
I
already
think it
is
already has.
commercialized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
dude,
that's
we-
nuts
when-
to me. We're living in strange times. That's
When we
weird.
went to Thailand, they I mean commercialized the hell out of those the floating markets. Those floating markets back in the day were like super sick because you would be able to get like rare ingredients, things that you would not normally find in regular markets because they were out in the different islands that were surrounding was it Ayutthaya? I don't remember the exact name. And it was sick, right? Or at least it was. And then they, popularized it, kind of change the entirety. And then when you get there, it's just, oh yeah, here's this mug. Where is it from? China, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I don't really want to buy anything here. And the only thing that was great when we went to those floating markets in Thailand was that I was able to just chill on a boat, which I wasn't like a huge fan of because I don't like boats. But I was able to chill on a boat and have a beer.
Yeah.
And that was, and like the guy gave me the beer on the boat, like we were exchanging the money. I was like on my boat and he boat like rowing up to me, and then we like gave the money off. That was it. That
That's
was like
pretty
the
cool.
coolest part about it. But beyond that, like there was just nothing there to get. Then when we went to where was it? Turkey. Now that was sick. When we went to the spice markets in Turkey, in Istanbul, that was cool because you would get there and you'd get hit with this amazing scent because of all the different spices that were out in the open, and just all of these different smells that were just hitting you from all these different angles. And then on top of that, they were also cooking with those spices in the market, so you were
Oh
able to
my
get
God.
food and stuff. It was phenomenal. I
Yeah, that
loved
sounds incredible.
I loved Istanbul. Istanbul was awesome. Did you know that they make a pudding in Istanbul that uses boiled chicken? I don't know.
Well,
if
you
knew
mean
that.
like a dessert?
Yeah,
That
so they
sounds
make a
disgusting,
rice.
quite
No,
frankly.
no, it's not.
Boiled
I thought it
chicken's
would be
great.
disgusting too. So what they use it for, instead, I'm trying to remember what the ingredient that they use to like keep the pudding together. They instead used the boiled chicken to do that, but it was like boiled to the point where it was literally just like it would fall apart, right? Where
Oh.
the meat had like no flavor, and it was just a holding together ingredient that they would use, like something to bind all the pudding together. And it was so freaking delicious. We went to this market. I was on the hunt for this thing the entire time we were in Istanbul. And then we went to this one cafe that had the most delicious apple tea I've ever drank in my life. And this and this pudding. Shit just it was like I haven't been able to find it ever since because we went back to the market the next day and it was sold out because the pudding was so good.
Wow.
And they were sold out of it. So I just sat there and had the delicious apple tea with like some shitty cookie. I was really pissed. But man, that was like the best part of that whole experience. So yes, I do travel. Okay, I do
I never
travel.
said you
I'm
didn't
just
travel.
Not one of those people that wants
Never
to
said you didn't travel.
scale the side of a mountain with some primitive equipment when gear that is perfectly fine that has been
Okay, I'll tell you,
created to
I-
hold my
I
giant
wasn't-
ass.
I wasn't that type of person either, but you get forced out your comfort zone and you learn to enjoy it because your brain likes to be challenged. Not mentally, but your brain likes to be tricked into thinking it's about to die. Same reason I chucked myself down a mountain skiing and pushed my limits too much. Pretty
I
sure
mean,
I've had
that
a
was
couple of near-death
stupid.
experiences skiing, and I think I've told those stories on Josh's channel,
Yeah.
but not on the forehead. But when I was in, I've told you guys the story, right? When I was traveling in Indonesia, and I was traveling with my uncle from Australia. He's not from Australia, but he moved to Australia, and we went to an island off the coast of Indonesia. And we
Mhm,
were
I think
mopeding,
so.
and I was on the back of his moped. Have I not told you this? Is this not triggering any
Maybe.
bells? German tourists?
No.
Nope. Doesn't trigger any bells at all.
How far
No.
in are we?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, how much time we have?
Let me wrap with this story though.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
We were-
yeah.
When I was 17, I went to Australia and Bali again, and we met up with my family from Australia who emigrated over there, and this is the meeting point. The meeting point was like Bali, Indonesia. Bali, if you're unaware, is essentially the Magaluf for Australians. Magaluf being like a super popular tourist spot for Europeans. That is the spot where Australians go to get fucked up, essentially, and have a cheap holiday. But outside of just the main tourist hotspot, which is Kuta, you find a lot of really cool spots in Bali. Like there's some fantastic areas. I've had some of the best pork-based dishes ever in Bali in a place called Ubud. If you ever go to Ubud, you can go to the monkey temple. Almost got rabies from a monkey. Told that story at some point as well. And I also ate some really nice pork. But this story is actually on an island. So we ended up going to an island. I can't remember if it was the island of Lombok or somewhere else. But the point is, it was a very kind of almost rural island, but slightly commercialized in certain areas. But if you wanted to find a rural spot, you could find it. And we got to this island. We rented mopeds without IDs. We just rented mopeds. And I was riding on my uncle's moped. And we were riding around the island. Now, my uncle is a bit of a mad bastard. He likes his drink, and he'd had a couple of beers. And we were going around this island at around 60 miles an hour on this dinky little moped, winding roads, trying to avoid locals. Couple of near misses, saying hello to also other tourists and whatnot. And we're traveling around, and we went on a bar crawl around this island in Indonesia, in rural Indonesia, going to little tiny fishing villages and just wandering in and asking if they had beer, and just sitting down and paying them for a beer and having a beer at one spot and going to the next one. So yes, he was drink driving. Was it illegal? Don't think so in the particular area we were at, but I'm not sure. But the point was, it was a fun time. No one was on the roads. The only people at risk were ourselves, realistically speaking. And it was a fun time because I was scared for my fucking life on the back of this moped, clinging onto him. And we were traveling around and exploring, and we found this little cove in the island, and it was so picturesque. When you think of like Southeast Asia and this kind of, oh, my audio's fucked? No, wait.
No,
what?
you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
You're good.
When you think of like a picturesque scene in Southeast Asia, of a little cove with long fishing boats, with villagers going out and fishing, and just like a small building and the sun setting. Imagine that, one of the most romantic atmospheres possible. Me and my uncle stroll up. We roll up on this moped. Couple of drinks in, couple of bevies in. When you get a couple of beers in, my uncle, he's a prankster. He loves to play pranks on people. My grandmother will tell you he has done some terrible shit. There was a point where my uncle, he was so notorious for pulling pranks on his mum and everyone else around him that he got ran over by a truck.
Jesus Christ.
On April Fool's Day. He actually got ran over by a truck, and the school rang up my dad to say David's been hit by a lorry. And my dad was like, "Is this a joke?" She didn't believe that it was real. It was on April Fool's Day as well.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, he actually has. And she didn't believe it.
Oh my
She didn't believe it because she thought they were fucking with him. But he is notorious for pulling this kind of shit. So we pull up in this cove and it's picturesque. And every now and then you see these tourists, and there's this lovely German couple who look like they should be Instagram models. Probably were, let's be real. Gorgeous, fit. They look like they're almost like chiseled out of marble, And they say, "Oh, hello. Would you like to? Can you take a picture of us?" I'm like, yeah, of course. We take a picture of them, but with this beautiful scenery. And my uncle gets the idea. He says, "Oh, could you take a picture of us?" And they're like, yes, of course. And he just starts groping me and trying to kiss me on the lips in front of this German couple, trying to pretend that we're a couple. And I'm like, well, okay, let's just go along with this then.
Oh my God.
And he pretends that I am his toy boy. And we convince this German couple that we were like this drastically different age group couple, because at this point I'm 17 and he's in his mid-40s.
Oh God.
And this German couple, they just don't know what to do. They take the picture and they're just like, okay, see ya, bye.
That is nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of
Oh my-
horrific. But
And that's also
my
there's a lot of
God.
questions, but there's just too much to dive into. There's too much time.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's no time.
We played
much
it
to
off
talk about.
nicely, I think, as in like he was like trying to go. He was like trying to full on make out with me, and I kept like pushing him away. But I think they thought that maybe I was just too embarrassed, as a young twink. I was too embarrassed in public to be doing this. I don't fucking know.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, I mean that's my story of how we went around the islands of Lombok and terrorized the island.
Terrorize the island. Maybe we do it. Maybe we should start
Oh my
our
God.
own
I'm trying to
Travel channel. Hit us up.
travel channel.
Maybe it
Four
wasn't
Heads Abroad. 4 Heads Abroad. That's what it should be called. And if anyone wants to waste money on this venture,
Yeah.
please reach out to Johnny. He will be waiting for you outside of a Korean BBQ spot.
Yeah.
He
What are our
may
5
try and fight you.
destinations?
What are 5 destinations?
Yeah, our
that-
5 destinations. I say Norway, Ethiopia, Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
What
I
else?
like these places.
Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, but you two have already been there. Have you been to
I'd
Japan?
fucking go again.
I'd
dude.
go.
Japan's so
You
sick.
don't understand. I'd go to Japan every single month of the
Yeah,
year.
so would
if
I.
could.
I actually would as well.
In fact, I would probably just move to Japan. If I
The locals
could.
weren't so
like,
xenophobic.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's xenophobic. I just think they're just it's
I
just a
have
different kind
heard-
of culture.
I've heard that they are. If you're a tourist, they're perfectly fine. They love the fact that you're visiting the country. But if you live there and you don't speak Japanese, then fuck you and where you came from.
Well, but then at the same time, though, wait a minute. We kind of do that shit out here in the United States, like a bunch of assholes, where we're like, if you don't speak American, then don't come around here. So I'm just saying that I understand the mentality where, like, if you live there and you're contributing to society, yeah, learn some freaking Japanese,
You're
douchebag.
the only American here, golden boy.
Well, but you know what I mean,
saying?
though. You all live in the United States now, and you
You're
all
the only
speak
American
English.
here, pal.
But imagine if Johnny, for example, didn't speak like he like spoke Swedish more than he spoke English,
We
right?
no speak English.
Like
What do you say?
people they would give him shit for it, and it would be really like annoying. And that's kind of
don't
like
know.
how it is. Like I always think
I think
about
that's
how
fine.
people travel out, how people travel out here and how they manage it. Because me and Cynthia went to Greece, and the signs were all in Greek, right? How
Yeah.
the hell were we supposed to get around? Like I don't know, but hey, you know what? At that point, learned a little bit of Greek, right? Just to try and get around and learn like what the areas and how it would like relate and
Yeah.
try and like understand it.
Well,
So I get it.
I'll say this though: if you're living in a country, you should make an effort to learn the language.
This is true. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
But
that's what
also-
I'm saying. I understand why, because we do the
But at the
same
same
thing out here.
time, Japanese are also particularly xenophobic.
Are they?
Damn, I'm trying to save you over here any way I
I-
can, and you're
I-
making
I-
it challenging.
I think so. They've got signs saying Japanese only on certain restaurants. Like if you're not Japanese, they will not let you in the restaurant.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
Do
Hmm.
they not just mean that they speak Japanese only?
No, and it happened to us. It happened to me when I was in Japan. We tried to go into a restaurant to eat, and there was tables, and there's people eating, and I didn't make the mistake of going in at lunchtime when they were about to go for lunch. We went in at a time that was pretty popular time. We walked in, and the guy was like, "Mm-mm," like that.
I put an article in the doc actually from where is it? This week in Asia, I believe
Mm.
is what it's called. Yeah, it was the website. Let me see if I can click it here. And it's like, why is racism so big in Japan? And this guy was pointing to a sign that says Debito Arudo in front of a Japanese bathhouse with a sign saying Japanese only. Photo seems a little old, but this article is from 2017.
Yeah. Now I will say, the people in Japan that I met were some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I mean, I literally got offered cocaine by the Yakuza. It doesn't get more friendly than that, you know? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's everyone I met was particularly friendly, but I think there's just this prevailing undertone of just people.
Isolationism. I think it.
Yeah,
I mean, they
yeah,
they
well,
all
Japan is
they not always have been, but they were for a huge amount of time a very
Such
isolationist
a-
culture.
yeah, such a unique culture that's so different to anything else around them. And there's some ties obviously over to other Asian countries, but across the board, if you look at East Asia, they've just been continuously going to war with one another. It's like, and also there's the history of conquest where Japan has just been trying to invade everyone. So
Hmm.
it's it's kind of just built into the culture. And I think in
But
this
I don't think
day
it's
and
with
age,
younger folks, though. I've never.
no,
I
that's what
mean,
I'm saying. Like I met a lot of friendly people, right? But I
Yeah.
just think in this day and age, we shy away from those conversation topics because we just want to believe that the world is all lovey-dovey. But these things still exist.
Yeah,
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
sure it does. I just don't know anything about it. So
I mean, look, I don't want to
I've never been.
take it that path, but literally, it just I don't want to talk about it. But literally last night when I was playing Valorant, some dude, like, I don't know if the person knew who I was. I am very public, obviously, about my
Very
background and
famous
my
as
race.
well.
No,
Very
Very
famous.
famous.
no,
Very
but
famous.
I'm very
Yeah.
public about it, and some guy used very like he said, "Could I get an autograph in Spanish?" And when he said that to me, I was like, "Hmm." So I made the joke and said, "No, I'll give it to you in hieroglyphics." To which then the guy said something about sand N words and stuff, and I was just like, "What?" I'm gonna
Oh,
just
damn.
back out of this game
Cool.
right now. Funny enough, though, as I posted that clip on Twitter because I really think that people like that should be called out because it's horrible. There have been a shocking amount of comments from people. Like one guy legitimately said to me, or you could have just muted him and played the game and not ruined it for everyone else. And I was
Wow.
like,
What
amount
does he
of-
think ruining for everyone else was?
yeah, like it was literally all four of them. Like how am I ruining it?
well,
How am I ruining the
because
game?
fuck knows. I don't know. These people have a twisted mentality. Also, a lot. This doesn't really apply to just gamers in general. But what I notice is the more hardcore a game audience, the more likely they are to lack social skills and any sort of understanding of social situations. So, for example, on the Valorant subreddit, a clip, literally just a woman streamer. There was a clip of her getting a lucky 2K, and all the comments. Some of the comments were just disgusting. Just only talking about like her looks or anything else. Other people just basically calling her out for hacking because they couldn't believe that she would get 2 kills. Like so I think the more hardcore a game and more niche it is, like Valorant is going to be, it's going to be a hardcore niche game, the more you're going to attract people who quite literally the only thing they do is play that game and they don't have social skills built up. And like that's what you're going to see. Obviously not across the board,
Yeah.
but it's just something that I noticed, like trends. Basically, the more casual a game is, generally speaking, the more accepting and the more likely it
You
is
know
to
what?
interact
You're
with people
right.
outside.
Cynthia actually, she's been doing a lot of Animal Crossing, right? As have
Yep.
been a lot of folks in quarantine. And she was saying to me, like, man, everyone is so nice. Like she
Yeah.
tweeted about getting the Statue of Liberty, and I retweeted it, and then a bunch of people have responded. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll gladly,
Yeah.
give you that." Or even random people that she's met through Animal Crossing have been so kind
Yeah.
and nicer because
Well, I
the
mean,
game itself is like welcoming and wholesome.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's no
there's
reason to be a racist dickhead in this.
I don't think that it's the game being wholesome though that causes people to be wholesome. I think it's different people. I think that the people that are I don't know. I think the people that have been playing competitive games for so long have just learned that they can get away with doing stuff like that. Like it's just become normalized. So it's its own little subculture of just horrific behavior, just shrouded in anonymity. Whereas with something like Animal Crossing, you're interacting with a different type of people that are actually just more social. I think it's just because the game attracts different people.
Well,
I don't think the same people are playing.
Here's a challenge to everyone listening. If you hear that shit in your game, call it out.
Yeah.
And then report them and then mute them. And then
Yeah, I really
I'll
hate
end
that.
on,
Well, I was just gonna say, I just really hate
go
that,
ahead,
that the perspective of it all is that it's the internet and we can't do anything about it.
no,
And it's
bro.
like, dude, how about we actually do try and do something about it rather than throw our hands up in the air and be like, it's the internet. We just got to accept it. Nah, fuck that shit, bro.
It's so
I'm tired of
fucking-
that crap.
It's so boring as well. Like, if they're doing it because they're racist, that's fair enough. Their brain is the size of a rat. But if they're doing it because they're trying to be funny, it's just fucking boring. It's not even funny. Like, think of some humor, you know? At least copy a comedian. They're just doing it for shock humor. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just not. It's not even. It's I don't know. It's like something that you know, if you're 14, shock humor you find funny. It's so low level. It's so base.
Yeah.
I don't get it, bro.
Basic
I don't know.
bitches, bro. Goes right back to it, just like the way when Josh just used basic ass hair dye rather than going full
rather
in,
than going
you know?
full hair dye.
Basic
Exactly.
bitches. Bro.
Josh
That's
equals
it.
racist. I agree. Yeah, that's the conclusion we're coming
Well,
to. With this,
Johnny,
Shut it
what were you gonna
down.
say, Johnny? What were you gonna say, Johnny?
No.
You cut off. Oh, anyone hear Johnny?
Oh, he's died. He's ripped out. He's ripped
Oh, your
out his
mic's
mic
dead.
cable.
Oh God, no, we can't hear you, Johnny.
Yeah. Is this a good place to end this
It
podcast?
really is. Well, Johnny was going to say something really wholesome, but I think that is going to do it for the foreheads. Thank you so much to everyone who.
Hold on, this wasn't a
tuned in.
very wholesome episode.
Well, he was going to say something wholesome, but ended up
But
not
then,
happening.
yeah, then he ripped his mic out. So
Then he ripped
Oh,
his
we
mic
can't
out,
figure
and
it
now
out.
Johnny's just trying to figure it out. And watching him trying to figure it out is actually the
that's quite
funnest
wholesome.
part about this whole thing. Folks, be kind to one another, wash your hands, do some good stuff out there in the world, play some video games. Make sure you give us a follow on Spotify, rate and review on Apple Podcasts, wherever you choose to listen to your podcasts. We love your support. Also, comment in the YouTube section. I'm sure some of you may agree or disagree with anything that was brought up in the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. We didn't read any reviews, so if we get any reviews, we will be sure to read them. We'll also check out some of the comments on YouTube for the next episode. We appreciate you guys checking us out, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is Forehead Podcast. Take care of each other. Peace.
I love
Later.
you all. Goodbye.